Hello, welcome to Survival ABCs. Today I thought I'd do a little knife review. I introduced this knife I think about 2-3 weeks ago, give or take. Although at the time I didn't do a video because of the fact that it was new. So now I've had some good use into it and I'm going to use it a little bit on camera today as well. I got this knife at the Canadian Outdoor Equipment Co. This is the Mora knife, stainless steel Garberg knife. It's full tang construction. You can see on the back end here, there's the tang sticking out. Makes for a good pummeling as well. It's very rare I ever do any real hammering on my blade. Sorry, there's kids way out in the field there. I can hear them from here. It's amazing how sound travels out here. But anyway, sorry, back to the basics here. This is stainless steel blade. It's very, very, very sharp right out of the blade. Right out of the package, I'm sorry. There's two methods of the sheath. Personally I got the leather sheath. There's another one that's a kydex sheath. It's like almost like a tactical style sheath. I didn't really like the look of it. Wasn't really fond of it. I love the leather and I really wanted to go with it. I spotted this knife at a place called S&R Knives back in the summertime, but at the time I couldn't afford it. But then the knife was gone, unfortunately, so I found this knife at Canadian Outdoor Equipment Co. It's got a very nice hardened plastic grip to it. It's a really nice grip to it. It's nice. I have a big hand, so I want to have a nice big, decent sized grip to it. I kept the box here for the technical information I thought I'd share with you guys. It came in a box just like this one. And like I said, this one came with the leather sheath. The leather sheaths, I'm sure if you haven't noticed already, there's actually a little bit of duct tape on the end here. I added that personally. It's not because of the fact the stitching is coming loose. It's actually in my personal preference. I do this with some of the sheaths that I have, leathery type of sheaths. And that is because when I'm sitting down, this is on my belt, the tip tends to rub on the ground sometimes, and sometimes it'll get into the mud, other times it'll scratch on the concrete. And I just don't want it to wear out the leather or scratch it up, so I put the tape there just to protect it, and so far it's been doing quite nicely. It's my own little modification. Has its own little button right here, and that secures the knife in place. Fits in really nicely. Closes up. I had a feeling that maybe like over time the thing might not fit anymore, but so far, how many times I pull it out, put it back in, it still fits nicely and still snaps closed really nice. I was afraid this button might give out. So let's talk about some of the technical information on here, and that's one of the reasons why I kept the package here to show you guys. So first and foremost, it's stainless steel blade. The blade length is 4.3 inches. That's 109 millimeters. The overall length is 9 inches. Or 229 millimeters. The thickness is 0.13 inches or 3.2 millimeters. I'm pretty sure it's like 10 gauge steel, more or less, is what it is. It's nice thickness to it. 9.6 ounces. We can, in fact, use it with a fire striker. The back edge of the blade, like most Mora blades, the back end is actually rounded, so you can't really use a ferro rod with it unless you take the modification and shave it with a file. So that way you get that nice sharp edge. But this one here is already sharp all the way up and down, so it's great for that. And also it's a full tang, like I stated before. So I'm going to do a little bit of splitting wood with it now, just for the... So I got a few sticks here prepared. You should always get yourself a nice block. I couldn't find one that's nice and flat, and so I always try to start right in the middle. Got myself a nice batoning stick. Also, when you're doing this, when you start with the blade roughly here. You don't want to be over here too much. I always go for right here. And when you first start the first couple hits, do directly on top, just like that. And then you move over to the side and bring it the rest of the way down. I did a lot of splitting wood with this method last week. Oops. And it held up really nicely. The blade was doing excellent. I love this knife so much so far. This stuff's been sitting around for quite a while. I find also that when you find yourself in a position where it's like too small to break, here, this small piece, you know, I can't really split this any further, but I want to. There's another method you can try out. Be careful. And that's basically staying like this. I force it in, that way it sticks, and then I just give it one more hit. Sometimes it'll actually split on its own, as you can see right here. Other times you may have to give the stick a little twist, and then it just splits even further down. So I'm going to try it with this bigger piece now. Just going to stick it in there a little bit. And see, it didn't break, so I'm going to hold the knife steady, and I'm just going to twist. See, it's almost like they're going to be want to stick the knife directly into the chopping block and then twist the stick. It's basically what you want to try doing. Whether you hold the knife like this or like this, I haven't noticed any real difference, but it's probably, actually now I'm thinking it's probably better I hold it this way. That way the blade's away from me and I'm less likely to hurt myself. There we go. So today I'm making a very small fire, nothing serious, just a small little thing. Last weekend, like I said, I was at a camp out, but unfortunately I had to leave a little early. So I didn't cook up my last meal, which was a nice juicy steak. So I've actually got it here with me. And I'm gonna cook it up and make myself a nice little, sort of like a late lunch to early dinner type thing. It's also really nice for making the nice feathery sticks. Like last week when I was doing this, I was just, making feather sticks, chopping the stuff down. It's very rare I'll ever hit it. It's extremely rare regardless of what knife I use, so I'm not going to do it in this video. I don't really see the point of showing it off if I don't do it anyway. Just nice little feathery stuff right there. I make myself a nice little pile and simple. Light it up with my ferro rod. Last week I posted that video of me failing to make fire because I wanted to show people that obviously I'm not perfect, and obviously you're going to face down those kind of conditions where stuff might be wet and it's going to become difficult, and you should always carry some form of dry tinder with you at all times. There's always going to be those kinds of situations where you're going to need it. So make a little stick like that. Gonna put it here at the base of the camera. I'll bring up the next stick. There we go. Please be careful when you're doing this, by the way. If you're not very experienced with this, try something shorter. Don't want to be going super long like this. Even using something that's like even half the size of it in length. Try something small and simple, something you can do in a very controlled fashion. So you don't want to be going too big, too fast. And that goes with axe safety as well. Honestly, I thought those geese flying by was going to interrupt the video many times, but they seem to have taken a break. Seems like they're on the move again. I love this knife. It's doing really nicely for me. But before I just end the video, I want to show you guys this here as well. I made myself a nice little reflector wall again. I'm going to make a second one that goes right here and another one right here, so it almost makes like a half circle type of thing. I'm not going to do it today though. I'm just going to leave this one here just for now. Maybe tomorrow or next weekend I'll come back and do some more. But anyways, this is the new knife that I have, and it's been doing very well for me. I know there's some people thinking, what about the Cold Steel SRK that you have? I'm still using it. This is more of a bushcraft knife for me. It's not really a survival knife because of the length of the blade and the size of it. It's then again, it's just my own personal preference. I'm going to use the SRK still, obviously, but for now I'm using this one here. I want to do more tests and have some fun with it. So anyways, I'm Survival ABCs. I'll see you around later.